Today we will discuss the removal of permanent hardness. Last class we discussed the removal of temporary hardness. What is permanent hardness? It is the hardness due to the presence of soluble salts of calcium chloride, calcium sulfate, magnesium chloride, and magnesium sulfate. Calcium chloride, calcium sulfate are soluble in water. Magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate are soluble in water. And due to the presence of these soluble salt of calcium and magnesium, water will get hardness, and that cannot be removed by simple boiling. That is permanent hardness. And how can you remove this permanent hardness? Here in your textbook, 4 methods are explained. The first one is treatment with washing soda. What is washing soda? Sodium carbonate, Na2CO3, 10H2O. That is washing soda. When washing soda is treated with the hard water, the calcium and magnesium salts react with it to form corresponding carbonates. For example, calcium chloride reacts with Na2CO3 to form calcium carbonate. It is insoluble and that will be precipitated. This arrow shows precipitation. And precipitated carbonates can be removed by filtration. After filtration, the filtrate, that means pure liquid, contains only sodium salts, sodium chloride or sodium sulfate, that is soft water. Next method, Kalgan's process. Kalgan is a chemical that is sodium hexametaphosphate. That is Kalgan. Sodium hexametaphosphate, Na6P6O18. It is commercially known as Kalgan. When it is added to hard water, first it will ionize to form 2Na plus and Na4P6O18 2 negative. An anion of formula Na4P6O18 2 minus will form. That anion will react with the calcium or magnesium ions to form a complex ion, Na2MP6O18 2 minus. Here I am represent calcium or magnesium. This complex anion is stable. So calcium and magnesium cannot come back to the water. So calcium and magnesium are arrested there. Or in other words, that is removed from the water, so water changes to soft water. The complex anion keeps the Mg2 plus and Ca2 plus ions in solution. Next method is zeolite process or permuted process, inorganic ion exchange method. So ion exchange method, inorganic ion exchange method, also called zeolite process or permuted process. What is zeolite? That is hydrated sodium aluminum silicate. Hydrated sodium aluminum silicate is known as permuted or zeolite. When water passes through the zeolite, what happens? Calcium and magnesium are absorbed in the zeolite. Instead of that, sodium will be released to the water. Thus, it will change it to soft water. Here, NaZ represents sodium zeolite. Z represents zeolite. For simplicity, we are using this letter Z. NaZ, 2NaZ plus M2 plus, M2 plus Ca2 plus or Mg2 plus gives MZ2 plus 2Na plus. So 2Na plus will be added to water. Thus, the water will become soft. Mg2 plus and Ca2 plus are removed. Therefore, water will become soft. But it has a problem. When we pass a certain quantity of water, what happens? All the sodium ions will be displaced by Mg2 plus or Ca2 plus. Therefore, further removal of Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus are not possible. So in such a situation, we will consider it as completely exhausted. If it is exhausted, we have to recharge the zeolite by passing sodium chloride through the zeolite. When you pass sodium chloride through the zeolite, what happens? Already absorbed Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus will be removed by or replaced by Na plus. That will be replaced by Na plus. So again we can use that equation is given here. MZ2 that is obtained here. MZ2 and treated with NaCl, NaZ plus MCl2 will form. and it is not going to the water, we can use it for the preparation of magnesium chloride or calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate or calcium sulfate. The next method is organic ion exchange method, demineralization or deionization of water. Demineralization or deionization of water. So in this method, we have a cation exchanger and an anion exchanger, a cation exchanger and an anion exchanger. So here, the water which contains calcium bicarbonate, magnesium bicarbonate, calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, calcium chloride or sodium chloride, and some silica also. That will be introduced into the cation exchanger, and this cation exchanger, it is resins means organic polymeric beads. Polymeric beads, and it is associated with, or these beads contain functional groups such as SO3H. In SO3H, H plus can be removed. So when this water passes through this resin, it is the bed of the resin, and it is passes through the resin, the H plus will be replaced by Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus. That means Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus will be absorbed in this resin, and instead of that, H plus will be released to the water. Here it is shown, RMG, RCR, resin, RMG, RCA, RNA, all will be absorbed here. And the water coming out of the cation exchanger contains only H plus and anions, H plus and anions, H2SO4, HCl, H plus plus SO4 2 minus, H plus plus Cl minus. And when it is passing through the anion exchanger, it is anion exchanger. Anion exchanger also polymeric bead-like substances in which functional groups such as NH3 plus OH minus are present. And this OH minus will be replaced by Cl minus or SO4 2 negative. So the water coming out of this anion exchanger contains only H plus and OH minus ions. That means pure water. All other ions will be removed here as RCl, that will be absorbed here, RSO4, R2SO4, that will be absorbed here. Then HSiO3, silica SiO2 is acidic, that will react this basic OH minus to form HSiO3, HCO3. In that way, all the impurities will be removed, and here you will get 100% pure water known as demineralized water or deionized water. A small description of the process is given here with the equations. All these things we explained in the picture, and for clarification it is given. 2RSO3H plus Ca2 plus gives RSO3 twice Ca plus 2H plus. RNH3 plus OH minus plus X minus gives RNH3 plus X plus OH minus. So OH minus and H plus removed, so the water contains only H plus and OH minus ions and H2O. So water coming out of the anion exchange resin contains only H plus and OH minus ions. That means only water. Here also the problem of saturation of the resins by Ca2 plus and Mg2 plus will arise. That means at that time we will consider the resins are exhausted. And the exhausted resins can be regenerated by dilute acids and bases. Cation exchanger can be regenerated by dilute acid, and anion exchanger can be regenerated by dilute alkali. Now the next compound, hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, it is a familiar compound for you because we are using it as an antiseptic, mild antiseptic under the name perhydrol. In medical shops it is available. How can you prepare hydrogen peroxide? Three methods are explained here. Two of them are laboratory methods and one is commercial method. The first one is from barium peroxide. Barium peroxide, when treated with dilute sulfuric acid, you will get hydrogen peroxide. The equation is given here. BaO2 plus H2SO4 gives BaSO4 plus H2O2 plus 8H2O. Another method is from peroxide disulfate. Peroxide disulfate is H2O2 minus, that is peroxide disulfate. Peroxide disulfate on hydrolysis gives hydrogen peroxide. And how will you get this peroxide disulfate? Peroxide disulfate is obtained by the electrolysis of sulfate solutions. Electrolysis of sulfate solutions. Here you can see HSO4 minus on electrolysis gives H2S2O8, HSO3SO3H, H2S2O8, H2S2O8. That one hydrolysis gives HSO4 minus and H2O2, HSO4 minus plus 2H plus H2O2. H2O2 is obtained. The same method can be used for the preparation of D2O2, deuterium peroxide. Here K2S2O8, S2O8 2 minus, I already told you, it is peroxide disulfate. When it is hydrolyzed with the D2O, you will get D2O2. The third method, that is commercial method by the auto-oxidation of 2-alkyl anthraquinol, 2-ethyl anthraquinol. 2-ethyl anthraquinol on oxidation gives H2O2 plus 2-ethyl anthraquinone. The oxidized product is 2-ethyl anthraquinone. This on reduction gives again 2-ethyl anthraquinol. Further oxidation gives H2O2. That means if you supply hydrogen and oxygen, you will get H2O2 continuously. So it is a continuous process. What you have to supply? H2 and O2. What is the product? H2O2. But here you will get only 1% solution of H2O2. Then the concentration of the H2O2 solution. How can you concentrate? It actually involves 3 steps. First one is distillation under reduced pressure. Then it will be concentrated to 30%. After that, again it is distilled under reduced pressure. Then it will be concentrated to 85%. And finally, the remaining water is removed by freezing. When you freeze the solution, only water will freeze and H2O2 will remain in the liquid state. So we will get the pure H2O2 very easily. So in 3 steps we can concentrate. The first step, distillation under reduced pressure to get 30% solution of H2O2. Again, distillation under reduced pressure to get 85% H2O2. The third one is freezing of the solution. Then water will be freezed out and you will get pure H2O2. These 3 steps. Next one, the properties of H2O2, the physical properties. In the pure state, H2O2 is an almost colorless, very pale blue liquid. So H2O2 is liquid, pale blue, almost colorless. Physical properties of H2O2. H2O2 is miscible with water in all proportions and forms a hydrate, H2O2 dot H2O. And melting point of H2O2 221 Kelvin. A 30% solution of H2O2 is marketed as 100 volume hydrogen peroxide. What is meant by 100 volume hydrogen peroxide? It means that 1 ml of such a hydrogen peroxide can liberate 100 ml oxygen at STP. 1 ml of 100 volume hydrogen peroxide can liberate 100 ml oxygen at STP. And its percentage is 30% H2O2. Commercially marketed sample is 10 volume, which means that the sample contains 3% H2O2. In all other cases, we will express the concentration in molarity, normality, or a mass percentage, or mole fraction in that way. But in the case of H2O2, we will express the concentration in volume. What is meant by volume? A solved problem is given in your textbook that will help you to understand. Calculate the strength of 10 volume solution of hydrogen peroxide. Here, you know, hydrogen peroxide will decompose to give oxygen and H2O. 2 H2O2 gives O2 plus H2O. It is the balanced equation for the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide. Here, H2O2, 2 plus 16 into 32, 34. 34 into 2, 68 gram. O2, 1 mole. That means 22.7 liters at STP, means 1 bar pressure. 22.7 liters. And you know, for getting 22.7 liters of oxygen at STP, the mass of hydrogen peroxide required is 68. Therefore, for 1 liter, what is needed? 68 by 22.7. And for 10 liter, 10 volume means 1 ml can liberate 10 liter. Oh, sorry, 1 liter can liberate 10 liter. So for 10 liter, 68 by 22.7 into 10. That is given here. 68 by 20.7 into 10. 29.9 approximately, we can take it as 30 gram H2O2. 30 gram H2O2 in 1000 gram solution. So about 970 grams of water. So 30 by 970 approximately, we can take 30 by 1000. That is equal to 3% H2O2 solution. Now the structure of hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide has non-planar structure. It is known as open book structure. You can see it is just like an open book. Here at the joined 2 oxygen atoms are present, and one hydrogen in one page and the other hydrogen in the other page. It is the structure in gas phase, it is structure in solid phase. What is the difference between these two? A small difference in the bond length and the bond angle. Here the bond angle is 111.5 degree, here it is 90.2. Here the bond angle is 94.8, here it is 101.9. It is the only difference. So what is the structure of hydrogen peroxide? Open book structure. Now the chemical properties of hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide contains hydrogen and oxygen. Therefore, hydrogen peroxide will undergo oxidation reactions and reduction reactions, or hydrogen peroxide can act as oxidizing agent and reducing agent in acid medium and also in basic medium. Certain examples are given here. Oxidizing action in acidic medium. Fe2 plus is oxidized to Fe3 plus by hydrogen peroxide in acidic medium. Fe2 plus oxidized to Fe3 plus by hydrogen peroxide in acid medium. Similarly, lead sulfide can be oxidized to lead sulfate by hydrogen peroxide in acid medium. It is a useful reaction in order to retain the color of lead paintings. Lead sulfide is black in color, lead sulfate white in color. So the lead paintings, the color, a blackish color will appear after a period of time. So in order to regenerate the original color, if you wash it with the hydrogen peroxide, you will get the original color. Then the reaction is this one. PbS plus for H2O2 gives PbSO4 plus for H2O. Now the reducing action of hydrogen peroxide in acid medium. It reduces permanganate ion to Mn2 plus. MnO4 minus is permanganate. Permanganate is reduced to Mn2 plus in acidic medium by hydrogen peroxide. Similarly, hypochlorous acid, HOCl, is reduced to Cl minus by hydrogen peroxide in basic media. In acidic media. Hypochlorous acid reduced to Cl minus by hydrogen peroxide in acidic media, H3O plus acidic. Now oxidizing action in basic media. To Fe2 plus plus H2O2 gives Fe3 plus. Oxidation of Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus in basic medium. Similarly, M2 plus is oxidized to Mn2 plus is oxidized to Mn4 plus in basic medium. Can also act as reducing agent in basic medium. I2 is reduced to I minus by H2O2 in presence of OH minus. Similarly, potassium permanganate, permanganate ion is reduced to manganese dioxide by hydrogen peroxide in basic medium. These are the reactions of hydrogen peroxide. Now the storage of hydrogen peroxide, that is very important. Hydrogen peroxide decomposes slowly on exposure to light. 2H2O2 gives 2H2O plus O2. In presence of light, it will decompose. And other things that will accelerate this dissociation are metal surface and traces of alkali present in glass containers. Glass containers contains traces of alkali. These traces of alkali and metal surfaces will catalyze the decomposition of H2O2. Therefore, when you store hydrogen peroxide, store in wax-lined glass or plastic vessel. Wax-lined glass or plastic vessel in order to avoid contact with the trace of alkali present in glass vessel. Wax-lined bottle is very important. And it is kept in the dark because in presence of light it will decompose. Urea can be added as a stabilizer that will stabilize hydrogen peroxide, prevent decomposition. And it should be kept away from dust because dust can induce explosive decomposition on the compound. So storage of hydrogen peroxide. Now the uses of hydrogen peroxide, it can be used as a hair bleach, and as an antiseptic, it is sold in the market as perhydrol. It is used to manufacture chemicals, example sodium perborate and percarbonate, which are used in high quality detergents. And it is used in synthesis of many organic compounds, for example, hydroquinone, tartaric acid, certain food products, and the preparation of pharmaceuticals. Hydrogen peroxide can be used. And this hydrogen peroxide is a good bleaching agent because on decomposition it produces atomic oxygen, nascent oxygen, oxygen atom, atomic oxygen. So it can act as a good bleaching agent. So that is the industrial use of hydrogen peroxide. Bleaching agent for textiles, paper pulp, leather, oil, fats, etc. Now it is also used in green chemistry. Green chemistry. For example, in pollution control treatment of domestic and industrial effluents, oxidation of cyanides, restoration of aerobic conditions to sewage waste. For all these purposes, it is used. Now, D2O, heavy water. How can you prepare D2O? Extensive hydrolysis of water. When you hydrolyze water, first you will get the hydrogen, but towards the end, at the time of finishing, when the complete water is electrolyzed, finally you will get a small percentage of D2O. And this D2O will undergo all the reactions of hydrogen. So we can prepare many deuterium compounds from D2O. Not a hydrogen, H2O. All the reactions of H2O, so we can prepare different compounds of deuterium from this D2O. For example, calcium carbide, when hydrolyzed with D2O, you will get a CaOD twice and C2D2. It is a substituent of acetylene, deuterium substituent of acetylene. C2D2, CaOD twice. SO3 plus D2O gives D2SO4. Al4C3 plus 12 D2O gives 3 CD4 plus 4 Al OD thrice. And now what are the uses of heavy water? Two important uses. First one, as a moderator in nuclear reactor. As a moderator in nuclear reactor. And the second one, in the study of reaction mechanisms. In the study of reaction mechanisms. Hydrogen as a fuel, you know, nowadays there is a problem with petroleum products. The storage is reducing. So we are expecting an energy crisis in the nearby future. So we are seeking for alternative fuels. And hydrogen is the best choice because of its more efficiency and pollution-free nature. So what are the advantages of hydrogen as a fuel? On a mass for mass basis, dihydrogen can release more energy than petrol, about 3 times. And the second one, pollutants in combustion of dihydrogen will be less than petrol. These are the advantages. Now, a modern technique, hydrogen economy. What is hydrogen economy? Hydrogen economy is the storage and transportation of energy in the form of liquid or gaseous hydrogen. Storage and transportation of hydrogen in the form of storage and transportation of energy in the form of hydrogen, liquid hydrogen or gaseous hydrogen. What is the advantage of hydrogen economy? Energy is transmitted in the form of dihydrogen and not as electric power. So we can reduce transmission loss, but what is the problem associated with the hydrogen economy? There is no effective method for the storage of hydrogen in the liquid form. That is the problem associated with this. So by this, the chapter is over. All of you studied well, and we can see the questions in the next class.